your entire business is built around your network of people, not just the product that you are providing or the service that you're providing, but everyone within your network, all of the information that you get from that, all of the product that you get from that, it's all encompassing, and your network is absolutely invaluable. What's up, everyone? How's it going? I don't have any complaints today. Not that I don't have a ton of complaints every day, but today I don't have any complaints. Other than the only complaint I have is this Modern Craftsman logo Nick put in when we were doing something. And it's not that I don't like it. I do like it, but I've never had it on before and I don't know how to get it off. So if you're watching this, if you're listening to it, it's no big deal. But if you're watching this, there's a Modern Craftsman logo up in the corner. And I don't know how to get rid of it. I mean, it looks good. I've just never had it on there before. First things first. I want all of you to go onto the website. If you're driving, pull over. If you're working, stop working. Whatever you may be doing, if you have appreciated this podcast and everything that we put out over the course of the last however many, 7, 8, 10 years, go on to moderncraftsman.co. Hit the extras link and check out our labor burden calculator and our pre-construction agreement. We are giving them away for free when you sign up for our email list. So if you click on that, a link will come up that you can get the pre-construction services agreement and or the labor burden calculator. We'll probably be cycling them off at some point. So I don't think that they're going to be on there forever. They're on there now, and I can't tell you how long they're going to be on there. So I would recommend that you do this sooner than later. Go on the website, moderncraftsman.co, click extras, sign up, get the labor burden calculator or the pre-construction services agreement, which will put you on our email list. And that will keep you up to date with everything and all things Modern Craftsman related. When we have new podcast episodes coming out, what those podcast episodes include, what the subjects are, who the guests are, just another way for us to be relevant with everything that you have going on a daily basis. I know that I need a lot of reminders for things that I need to do, things that need to get done, business-wise, family-wise, relationship-wise, birthdays. If I need to take the trash cans out before I leave for work, I have to set a reminder in my phone. Or a lot of times I'll put something in my truck that makes it undrivable, like covering the speedometer. So as soon as I see that, I'm like, why did I do this? And then I remember what I have to do. So we want to be top of mind for you. Nick and I have also been putting in a ton of work on the back end for a few things that we have not released yet, but they go hand in hand with everything that we are doing right now. And it's been a lot of work, and it's been a lot of sacrificing and a lot of additional stuff that we are hoping to put out that's going to help all of you listeners. So that's all part of this. And we would appreciate, again, if you've enjoyed anything podcast related or gained anything from this, or even if you haven't, you just want to support us, this is the best way to support us at the time. Go onto the website, download those forms for free, and sign up for our email list. I'm sure a few of you have been getting our emails. If you sign up for the email list, we'll have a welcome email sequence that you'll start getting that'll just give you a little bit of insight as to who we are, what we're doing, what this looks like, what the future holds. So check out those emails. Again, we took a lot of time doing all of this, crafting all of this, and we would appreciate the feedback. We also, I'm going to be posting from my social and a couple other channels. We have a survey that's going to help us shape what we're doing and create content that's really unique and valuable to all of our listeners. So if you have the time, we would also appreciate when I send this survey out, if you could take the couple of minutes. Again, everyone, how can you support us? What can you do? These are the things that you can do to support the podcast to allow us to continue to devote more and more time to this, and really just broaden our reach and be able to legitimize the ways that we can help you more so than just getting on here and speaking to you on a weekly basis. So fill out that survey, please, please, please. I would greatly appreciate it. So I wanted to touch on one thing today. Also, I had a great call this morning with a client, a consulting call this morning, who is just getting into the industry, a little older, had a couple of different careers prior to this, and happened into this industry. And just high level things that I've learned over the last year. Again, what I'm trying to do with offering consulting calls and speaking to customers and contractors is be a source of inspiration and knowledge and insight for you guys and girls who want to operate a small business. I'm sure at this point you understand that I'm not looking to grow my business and have a dozen employees or more. I want to be able to balance life with work, make a decent living, get to do the jobs that I want, guarantee that I'm getting paid for my hours. I want to be able to design projects. I want to do 3, 4 jobs a year. I want to create a premium for my services. I want to create a niche premium boutique brand, a luxe experience. And I've just realized over the years that this is my place. This is my space within the industry. This is what I understand. This is what I know. This is what I've spent the past 15 years professionally doing and having conversations and gaining insight. It's not the other end of the spectrum, building this massive team and uh, a company that has so many different people working for you and different aspects of the business. Like, that's not what I've ever wanted. And for a long time, I wasn't ashamed of that, but I didn't speak so freely to that. I don't think that I own that as much. I always saw it as, or viewed it as, somewhat of a detriment or a shortcoming of mine, that it wasn't my personality type to build this massive business or grow the business or have a bunch of employees, a bit to create a business that was vertically integrated. And I realized over the past couple of years that just like that's not what I want to do, and the reasons behind that don't really matter. Um, but the fact that I'm going to stand behind that and I'm going to be proud of that and I'm going to support that and I'm going to support everyone else who's in that same boat for whatever reason, if it's personality type, if it's risk tolerance, if it is your market, if you're financially set and this is essentially a glorified hobby for you, whatever it may be. I want to help you be the best that you can be and learn from a lot of mistakes that I made. So I had a call this morning with a guy who was around my age who had a couple of different longer careers, and then has recently gotten into this about just how he can be a premium level contractor, how he can be the best at what he's doing, and the things that he needs to do to get to position himself in order to do that. And on one hand, it's pretty easy. Like, you just have to be different. You have to do things differently. Um you have to offer your customers something that other people are not willing to do. Um we discussed your value proposition and what unique properties you can offer to your customer that essentially will prevent them from going elsewhere. What qualities you possess that other people do not, and why there's value in that. What problems you're solving for your customer, um, and how you're streamlining that process for them. And that is much easier said than done, especially when you don't have a full understanding of the industry, the market, your numbers, your rates. Um, a lot of what people do in this industry aren't necessarily because they don't have the ability to do it. It's because they are not selling it, has not been sold for them, and they do not have the budget to execute at the level that they want. So we look at it as, hey, I can't believe they're doing it this way. When in reality, a lot of times it's a shame that they are not offered enough budget or time to be able to execute things the way that they need to be 110%. So it was a nice call this morning. Um, a lot to cover, a lot on my mind, a lot to go over as far as what you can do to set yourself apart and create this unique value proposition for your customers. Um, and it's always just enlightening to see how much information I can provide for these clients and what the conversation looks like, and how much it's either reaffirming or really getting the wheels in motion about how they can begin to set themselves apart, and what they can do to guarantee success and profitability, and to do that in a way that they don't need a dozen employees to make an honest living, and they can create a work life balance, and they can take some time off. So I do really enjoy these calls. The more calls I do, um, the more data that I can acquire with regard to the industry, different areas of the country, different markets, and kind of pull all that information together and create a more robust knowledge base for myself to be able to help people out. So I really appreciate the opportunity that everyone has provided me to become more well educated and have a better, more comprehensive understanding of what this industry looks like and what we struggle with and what commonalities we share, regardless of where you are, who you are. If you're a small owner operator or small, 5-man or less crew, and you struggle with a lot of these things, and you'd like to talk to me, let me know. Shoot me an email, tyler@trghomeconcepts.com. I get a fair amount of people reaching out to me on a weekly basis, and I try and get back to everyone. I'm usually not booking out more than 1 or 2 weeks in a row. It's first come, first serve. So if I don't get you at this point, and you want to kind of be on that wait list, you can let me know. But a lot of times it's just luck of the draw, whoever reaches out to me first and what that week or two window looks like. But I do get a fair amount of these. I think I responded to 4 yesterday alone. So if you wanna talk, shoot me an email, tyler@trghomeconcepts.com, and we can discuss what that looks like. But I appreciate everyone who's reached out, everyone who has been a part of that. I feel like it is creating, um, just like I said, a robust amount of knowledge that I've been able to acquire with so many different people in so many different areas of the country with so many different models, that really showcases a lot of the shortcomings of the industry, and common struggles that we have, and just makes me be able to serve our industry a lot better. So I appreciate that. So on to this week's podcast. I don't think I'm going to have a blog post accompanying this week, because the podcast this week is going to be on one of the emails that we have sent out to our listeners. So the people who have gotten these free documents, um, and want to be basically in touch with us, and top of mind with what Modern Craftsman has to offer, what Nick and myself have going on and in the works. Um, but one of these emails that went out recently was the key lessons for you, and it's a list of things that Nick and I have learned over the years, and it's not super in depth. It's pretty simple and straightforward, but I just wanted to expand on it a little bit. And there's 6 lessons that we have found are really important for you, regardless of business size, structure, how long you've been in business, that we think are valuable and critical, um, in order to create a successful, sustainable business. So number one is know your worth. Don't be afraid to charge what you're worth. Remember, you're not just selling labor, but expertise, quality, and peace of mind. Clients who value this will be willing to pay for it. Again, even my conversation today was the guy's new. I don't feel that his rate is quite where it needs to be. And what I also did, which is something that he's similar, is that, hey, you have to work your way up from the bottom. You have to start somewhere. You're going to have to invest in yourself and in this business. You're learning. You're battling imposter syndrome, so you're under charging for your time. And I look at it from the perspective of been there, done that, understand what I did. In hindsight, I would have done things differently. And my rate when I first started was low, and it took me a while to raise that rate. And even when I raised that rate, I was putting more time into the project, so my rate was probably staying the same, or um, actually becoming lower, because I was just putting much more time into these projects. But I didn't realize that people were hiring me for the competitive advantage that I was providing by being new. It wasn't that my work was going to be less. It was just that I completely undervalued my time. I knew I was new to the industry. I knew I was inexperienced, and I didn't feel justified in charging an adequate rate. So that's why people were hiring me. When I I have the conversation with people now who are in the position I was when I was 23, regardless of age, and it's like, hey, at the end of the day, like, people can't just hire you for the number. If that's why they're hiring you, it's going to be tough to succeed in that respect. So I look at it as like, what can you offer as being new to this industry where they're less concerned with the price and they're hiring you because of other attributes, whether it is that you're new to the industry, that you're driven, that you're hungry, that you're devoted, that you're putting your best foot forward, because you're not um you haven't been dissatisfied with this industry, or you haven't had the struggles, or you haven't been beat down by price. You're not looking to make a quick buck. You're looking to establish your reputation. And hiring somebody who's first started for a project, like, yeah, I don't want to hire somebody who doesn't have the experience to do a high level, highly detailed project, but for certain task, I would absolutely hire that person, because I know that they're doing this with their best foot forward. They're creating a reputation for themselves. I'm investing in the future of this person. I'm investing in the industry. So look to sell that. Your worth doesn't necessarily have to be based on your experience. It's what you can bring to the table. What values do you offer your customers, and what problems you can solve for them? Number two, continuous learning. The construction industry is always evolving. Stay curious and never stop learning. Whether it's new building techniques, business practices, or technology, staying ahead of the curve gives you a competitive edge. Again, we're all looking for that competitive edge. You have to understand what your competitive edge is, and it should not be an edge that affords your customers more than it affords your own business, right? Where it's like, hey, I'm lean, I'm efficient. I don't want to offer a competitive edge to pricing because I'm lean and I'm efficient and I'm not absorbing a massive overhead. Those are choices and decisions that I make as to how I want to run my business. I don't want that to be my competitive edge. It was, hey, I'm less money because I don't have the overhead. And I did that for years. Um, I want my competitive edge to be many other things, not that. So obviously, like what I'm doing now with consulting, I'm helping all of you, but I'm also building and establishing my own knowledge base. Everyone who I speak to on the podcast, everything that Nick and I are doing on the back end to create more content and create these systems, get in touch with you. Um, we are learning every single day. Obviously, we are here to serve the industry, we're here to serve you and serve ourselves, but we are also learning from this. Every conversation that we have, every guest that we have, every podcast that we have to edit and put out there, and the relationships that we are creating and establishing are learning experiences for us. We're learning new techniques. We're learning sales techniques, business practices. You can sign up for web courses. You can sign up for webinars. You can download courses on certain aspects of the trade, whether it is from an execution standpoint, from a business standpoint, if it's hopping on a consulting call with somebody who owns a business who you look up to, if it's attending one of our contractor coalitions, if it's attending a trade show. There's so many different ways to elevate your learning and progress in this industry rather than just sitting back and waiting for the phone to ring. You have to set yourself apart. You have to have the competitive advantage, and you have to stay ahead of the curve, and nobody's going to do that but you. Um, Number three, build relationships, not just houses. Some of our best projects and opportunities have come from nurturing long term relationships with clients, suppliers, and fellow professionals. Networking isn't just about getting the next job, but building a community. I, for a long time, didn't realize the value of a community. At this point, if I have a question, I have a network of people that I have developed over the past 15 years, but more specifically, revolving around Modern Craftsman, the past 2 years alone, close to 100 people who I have spoken to on the phone that have insight, networks, trade partners all over the country, all over the world, different countries. People I've spoke with on the podcast that have taught us to do certain things or enlightened us or open our eyes to other ways of doing things. I can hop on a call with a Zoom. I can shoot an email. I can shoot a text message. I've established a relationship with these people and built a network that is far more valuable um, than a lot of other things and a lot of other time that I've spent on my business. Everyone, I feel like I came out of college and everyone spoke about networking. You have to go meet with these people and there's these networking events. It doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be in the traditional sense. It doesn't have to be going out on the golf course with your customers and shooting the shit and playing the game. It can be an honest conversation with somebody on the phone, catching them on their ride home, grabbing coffee, stopping by their job site, just creating a network of people, not just in your immediate area, but all over that you can run your ideas past, that can serve as a sounding board for you and your business. When you're in a pinch in a project and you need additional labor or you need materials quickly. I know I've dealt with it with Anderson, who's one of our sponsors, where it's like, hey, we had an issue with this on this project and now we have to tear all of this out and I need windows immediately, and the other windows that we already ordered are coming in and they pushed through to accelerate lead times for me so that I can close a house in. All of these relationships I've built over the years, and it's not necessarily a quantifiable return per se, where it's like I'm going to establish this relationship and there's going to be a check in my bank every week because of this. But when they come through, when they pull through, it affords you a really great user experience for your customers, for your business, lack of headaches, less hiccups that will get you the next job and the next job after that. And your entire business is built around your network of people, not just the product that you are providing or the service that you're providing, but everyone within your network, all of the information that you get from that, all of the product that you get from that. It's all encompassing, and your network is absolutely invaluable. So you cannot forget that, yeah, I need to work and I need to build the homes and I need to remodel the homes, but you also need to build and establish and maintain these relationships. It's really, really important. I'm not the most socially outgoing person in the world. I don't love small talk. I don't just want to sit around and bullshit with somebody. But if I can have an honest conversation one on one with somebody about who they are, what they do, how they can better themselves, how what they do can benefit me, and vice versa, what I can offer other people, that's a way to network and establish these relationships where it's not socially awkward for me. It doesn't create anxiety, and it betters myself, it betters my product, and it betters all of the things surrounding my company. Number four, find your niche. We each found success by identifying what we're passionate about and excelling in that area. For Tyler, it's detail oriented renovations. For Nick, it's custom home building. find what you love, and become the go-to expert in that field. I tell people this all the time. You don't have to do a million things well. um, you don't even have to do one thing well. You just have to do it different. uh, Regardless of what that is. Ideally, you're doing it well, but if it's just different, sometimes that is enough. Um, Everyone has a pain point. Everyone hires you for a reason. You may not know what that reason is, and if you don't, that's coming at a detriment to you because you're allowing your customers to really drive that ship. But your niche is what's going to make you the money and land the jobs and create the business and the lifestyle that you want. If you're taking any lead that comes across your lap, if you do not understand your value proposition, if you don't understand what you do differently, what you don't do well, if you don't understand what your market offers, what your competition offers, what they do better than you, what they cannot do as well as you are leaving money on the table. You are leaving opportunity on the table, and you are not generating the most profitable, successful, sustainable business model that you have the opportunity to do. Because once you find your niche and once you find your customer and once you understand what you do well and what provides the means of income or happiness or a balance of those things, once you find all of those things, your business, your personal life, everything gets substantially better because now you understand who you are, what you do well, what your customers hiring you for, and you can execute on those things. Now you're not selling to a customer who wants a job done really quickly and you're focused more on quality and you're an owner operator and it's going to take 15% more time, but the overall execution of quality and coordination is going to be better. They don't care about any of that stuff. They care about getting the job done quickly. So no matter how well you execute, it's not going to be a great user experience. So that's not going to sell the job in the area that you want. That's not going to make you more money on the job, that the next job. That's not going to increase your or better your systems or improve your systems. So again, you don't need all the leads that you get. You just need the right leads. You don't need every customer in your area. You just need the right customer. The right customer is so much more valuable than 10 leads that are not the right customer and then adapting your company to fit their program or having to spend all of the time and the effort to try and sell your program or place your program within this customer's objectives. It You're much better off focusing and spending the time on the customers that want you for what you want and for what you do and finding that niche and being the best absolute fit for these customers within that very small list of parameters. Um, be the expert, be the person, the go-to person that there's no need for them to go elsewhere. There's no need for them to interview anyone else. They want you. You are the person that they need to hire for this job. And when you position yourself and you get to that point, you're going to be far more successful. Number 5, balance is key. It's easy to get caught up in work, especially when you're passionate about it. But remember to make time for family, hobbies, and self care. A balanced life leads to better work and more sustainable career. I learned this lesson the hard way. Um, I always enjoyed work. I enjoyed busting my ass to get work done. I enjoyed wearing that badge of, I'm blue collar. I can work. I can outwork you. I can work 16 hours a day, every day. I don't get tired. Sleep when you're dead. All of those things I wore as a badge of honor. And looking back on it, it was a lot of the reason why my business was not as successful as it could be. On paper, everything looked okay. Um, I was making money, the numbers were working out, but I wasn't considering how much time was going in on the back end and after hours. So when I looked at it from a more, um, I guess, independent point of view, or isolated point of view, where it's like, hey, I'm going to pull myself out of this equation and just look at how much work's going in, what I'm making, and what it requires of me to do that. I realized that it wasn't really that sustainable of a model. Um, so I got sick a couple of times, and I realized that I needed to work less, but I didn't understand how to work less. That was how I trained myself. That's how I had built and established my business. It was sweat equity and more sweat equity and blood and sacrifices. And that was part of my sell. That was part of why people were hiring me. And I built and established myself as that guy. And I had to break that mold. I had to find other customers that were willing to accept the way that I wanted to work, and not working till 7, 8 p.m. at night, and not working on weekends, and not putting in 70 hours a week and meeting after work and before work. I had to find customers who wanted me there during normal work hours and were willing to pay me to do the work on the back end and the business end of things, and to absorb an overhead that is associated with running a business that I didn't necessarily integrate into my pricing for 10 or so years. So um, I found some hobbies. I developed some free time. I started to accept and embrace a bit of a respite from work, and my life got substantially better. Work got substantially better. My quality of customer got substantially better when I had other things in my life to focus my energy on, and not just about selling the next job and selling the next job and keeping my head above water and working 100 hours a week. I started to gain a little bit of clarity and create some insight for myself that led to a more sustainable lifestyle, a more sustainable career, and, to be honest, a more lucrative career as well. Because at this point, I wasn't just selling for sales sake. I wasn't working myself to the ground and then jumping into the next thing without accurately assessing what needs to happen, how much time I can allocate to a project, and what, being able to work on my systems. So when I took a step back, when I started working less, when I developed some hobbies, when I really found how to balance my life between my own personal needs, my family, and my work career, I actually created a much more successful, lucrative, profitable business. And I was unsure of how to do that for many years, but the balance is what created and was the catalyst for that. And uh, the final, excuse me, um, takeaway that I want to provide you guys with is valuing your time. Understand the opportunity cost of your time. Sometimes turning down a project that doesn't align with your goals can lead to better opportunities. Remember, success in this industry isn't just about building structures, it's about building a sustainable, fulfilling career. It's about creating value for your clients while staying true to your values. Um, this is really, it's so much easier said than done to say, hey, you know what? Like, don't take the job when you're hungry for work, when you feel you need the money. And I can recall people telling me this when I was in the infancy of my career, and saying, you know what, you're better off not working than going to work for somebody that isn't paying you enough. And it just, like, it made sense listening to it. But then when I didn't have work on my plate and a job came up, I would jump in it, because it's like, hey, if I can make X amount per day, it's still better than sitting at home. But what I didn't realize was how short sighted that decision was. By taking that job that wasn't at my price point, every referral that came after was what sold the job, right? Why did they hire me? And it was because my availability and because my pricing was good. It wasn't because of anything else. So while I may have made a little bit of money on that job, I set myself up for any referral to be a failure, to not align with my values, to not be in the market or for the customer that I was willing and desiring to work for. So it's just a very short sighted goal. So what I would suggest is if you're looking to do this, to grant yourself a little bit of grace, provide a bit of a nest egg that you can go into, and understand that you're going to have to concede some costs. You're going to have to learn, you're going to make mistakes, but you cannot be working for free. If say you're working 10 jobs a year, at a reduced rate, and it's just because you're feeding the machine, you're trying to keep work on the table, and I asked you if you could do half the volume and make the same amount of money, you would absolutely do it, right? But you have to be financially stable enough to realize that, hey, I'm going to be putting half the amount of work into place. I need to budget accordingly. Um, I need to have some money put away for the slow times, and I need to use that downtime to not just sit and absolve myself of any responsibility with the business, but spend that time bettering your business, refining your business, working on your business. So now you're working half as much, you're bringing in the same amount of income, and then you're setting yourself up for future success by working on your business, refining your systems, refining your numbers, and reinvesting in your business. So year 2, you're in a substantially better position. Year 3, even more so. And you continue down that path where, instead of just taking what comes across your plate and feeding the machine and working to the bone and scraping by and making pennies on the dollar, you can now work less. You can work on your business. You can focus on other things. You can create a healthier, more sustainable, better lifestyle for you, your business, your family, your employees, your customers, everything else. So understand what the opportunity cost of is your time, and that sometimes taking that job, it's not just about making money right away, but the harm and the detriment that it causes for the next job, a year down the road, and how you're actually shooting yourself in the foot. So, excuse me. So that wraps up today's podcast. Again, this is just elaborating on an email that we recently set out to you, that Nick and I put together, about our thoughts on the industry, and some valuable takeaways and ideas that we've learned over the years, and what you can do to better yourself and better your business and create a more successful environment for you. There's a handful of other emails that we put together that we are sending out. We'd love you to be a part of this journey with us. We've been doing a ton of hard work on the back end. I've been working on some case studies, understanding my client, how I can better communicate to you guys what that looks like, how you can do that, understanding my value proposition for a business, and what unique problems I can solve for my customers, how to differentiate myself, how to involve pre-construction in your sales, and how that's going to actually be a fairly lucrative process for you, even more so than the work itself. All of these things that Nick and I on the back end have been putting together to get down on paper and be able to pass this off to you, we want you to be a part of. We want you to find out about it first. So head to the website, moderncraftsman.co, sign up, click on the extras link. You can download our free pre-construction template. You can download the labor burden calculator, all things that we talk about on a daily basis, all things that you'll be able to use, and they don't cost you a dime. And then you're going to be in the know about what's coming out with Modern Craftsman, what our podcast this week entails, who the guest is, what courses we're putting out there, what information we're providing to you, how we can better you, yourself, and really elevate this entire industry. So please, again, if you've asked how you can help over the years, how you can support us, absolutely do that. Moderncraftsman.co, hit the extras link, and then download those forms. If you want to hop on a consulting call with me, time is limited, but reach out to Tyler at trghomeconcepts.com, and I can walk you through what that looks like. I think that's it for today. I will catch you all next week. As always, thank you for all the time. Thank you for all the listeners, the posts, the questions, the emails, the consulting calls. It's all very much appreciated, and it helps me out tremendously. So I'll catch you all next week.